Hi everybody, it's Tamara from Etcetera's, or Tamara from Prairie Town Girl if you're here from Instagram. Today I am going to make these cute little file folders with you. They're super easy and I've already made a couple, and I actually videoed the whole thing, but I was just sort of making it up as I went along, and so I felt like I was a little all over the place. So now that I actually have a bit of a plan, I'm going to retape this and do this along with you. So I have a couple of things prepped, but we'll do most of it together. So what inspired this project? So I was in IKEA this week, which I don't get to go to very often because it's 6 hours away. So when I go to Edmonton, I get to go to IKEA, and they had these really pretty napkins there. I think they were $2.99 Canadian, but I grabbed them because it's an all-over print. It's a big napkin, and at IKEA, usually it's very loud, geometric, solid napkins. They don't have a lot of really pretty napkins. So I grabbed this one when I saw it, just because I love it, because it's got butterflies on it, of course. And I was trying to think this morning about how I was going to use it, if I was going to make some tags or you know, put it on a journal cover. I wasn't really sure. Then I remembered I have these index card things. I'm just trying to separate this while I'm talking. Not always able to do two things at once here. But I have all these really big index cards, so I thought I'll make these into file folders and we'll cover them. So it's super easy, and but it's a good way to use up a lot of your stash. So I really, out of the two that I did earlier, I really like this one where I put the book page down first and then the napkin over top, and then you can see lots of texture and pattern, and it's really great. So I'm going to sort of use this as my model. So the first thing I did, was get a couple of these big index cards, and I cut the top tab off of one of them, and I rounded the corners with a little punch. So the one without the tab, that's my front, and then the one with the tab is my back. And it's up to you if you want to keep what's on the tab, or if you want to use something else to cover it up. So the first thing I'm going to do is cover it with book pages, and I'm going to cover the inside and the outside. And one of the things I'm doing is I'm just tearing the edge with that has blank page on it, because I want lots of text, and it doesn't have to line up perfectly or anything like that. It's just so that I don't get a big blank line down the middle of my folder. So I'm just going to use Mod Podge as usual for my decoupaging. And let's see here, we'll start with the front. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and glue these on. I'm going to do that off camera. I'm pretty sure you don't want to sit and watch me glue paper on. Maybe you do, I don't know. I find myself watching some pretty strange things on YouTube sometimes. But I'm just gonna, you know what I'll do? I'll do it on camera, but I will fast forward this part. How about that? There's a good compromise. So you can watch if you want, and I won't talk, and I'll just glue away. Here we go. Okay, so just so that you're aware, the Mod Podge is probably going to start to warp your file, your index card. So what I do is just put something heavy on it, even your Mod Podge. Put something heavy on it while it's drying, and it will dry flat. It just needs a little something to keep it down. So that's the first side. I'm just going to let that dry for a bit, and then I'm going to cut off the excess book page, and then I'm going to Mod Podge more book pages on the inside. So I'll be back in well, I'll be back right away here, but I'm just going to leave it for about 10 minutes or so and let it dry, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. You can see how much it's flattened out now, so that's so much nicer. Now I'm going to trim off that excess, and it's good to do it now before you Mod Podge the other side, because right now I can see all the edges quite clearly. Which helps with like these curved corners. Okay. Yeah, I kept finding myself going off camera, and I think my camera was at a different angle than it normally is. Alright, so now I'm just going to do the inside as well. So let's get a few more book pages, and we'll Mod Podge the inside. So again, get some of that blank space off the page. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry for a little bit. I think I can already probably start to cut the first one I did. And all I'm doing is cutting off that excess edge. Oh, I can see this one went a little crooked. That's okay. Got a little glue on my scissors there. So it's okay, like, I don't know if you can tell, but this one, the page went on a little bit crooked. It's okay. This is just a foundation, and we're going to be covering it up anyways with the napkin. So I can tell I want this to dry a little bit longer flat, and my battery's running out anyway, so I'm going to give this a few minutes and rev up my battery, and I'll be right back, and we will put the decorating and the napkins on top. Okay, so again, you can see my pieces dried nice and flat, and I let them dry for about, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, and that's just because I went downstairs and started watching Escape to the Chateau DIY, and I find that show very addicting. I started watching it on YouTube, and now I'm watching it on TV as well, because they just started airing it, and yeah, I can't stop. Anyways, so I've got my book page foundations. Remember which one is your front and your back. And now we're just going to add one more layer, another layer of Mod Podge. And I'm going to do the whole entire piece because I want to lay down my napkin all at once. I want to get all those corners and edges and all that kind of stuff. There we go. That's probably a bit too much, but there we go. And just going to lay the napkin gently on top. And don't worry about lining up edges or any of that kind of thing. You know, I always go over and then just trim it, and that makes life so much easier. If you have a brayer, just give it a gentle but firm roll to get all the air bubbles out, and there will be air bubbles. And if you get some that you can't get out, just take a craft knife and give it a little slice, and that'll just let the air escape, and that'll help. But for the most part, they should come out if you just gently press everything down firmly. Okay, so I'm going to just cut close to the edge. I'm not going to trim it properly just yet. I just want to get my other edge of the napkin so that I can use it. It should fit. Yep. Okay, so one more time. There we go. And which way? Here we go. My napkin's gonna go this way. Lay it down gently. So one more time, I'm just going to let this dry for a little bit, and this time I'm only going to let it dry for probably 5 minutes or so. Just let it harden up a little bit. You can see there I've got some, I'm just going to slice, get that air out of there. So if you want to, you can put another layer on top. And I am fighting the urge to pull out my sparkle Mod Podge as usual. But I'm going to resist, I think. I think I want, and I didn't dip it back in. There's still lots of glue left in my brush, but I'm just very gently going over, and that's mostly just to get rid of those air bubbles. So before this sticks to my desk, I'm just go over this one a little bit too. Just sort of seals it in a little bit. So I think I am done with the Mod Podge for the most part for now. So I'm just going to let things dry. If I just gently put, and I don't have to put something super heavy on it right now, just put something down on it to make sure it doesn't start to warp. So I'm going to give that a few minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll decorate, which is the funnest part. Okay, so I just have my pieces sitting under my big, what do you call, crocodile, just to weigh them down, and I let them dry for about 5 minutes or so, which is probably not enough. So I just want to, while I'm doing this next step, I'm just going to let them dry with something heavy on them. So the next thing I did, I wanted to make a bit of a sort of a hinge for the bottom of my folder. It's going to look like this. So I just took some craft paper, and I don't know, that's about 1.5 inches or so, I don't know, just make a strip, and I scallop both the edges, and I think, well, what I'll do, I'm going to just fold it in half lengthwise and crease it. And this is going to be my hinge, the bottom. So I am going to ink those scallops up before we glue this on. On the other one I used a much bigger scallop, almost like a wave, which I'm not really sure which one I like best. I like them both, really. Okay, there we go. And I think for this step you could stick with your Mod Podge, that would be perfectly fine, but I just went and washed my brush. So I'm just going to coat this with lots and lots of glue from my glue stick. There we go. And so I'll put my back on first and I'll line it up with that crease I just made. And then put my front down, line that up with the edge. There we go. And again, if you want to get your brayer out, doesn't hurt. There, that is definitely on. Okay, and then all I have to do is snip each end. That way you don't have to fiddle around with trying to line up your edges and all that kind of thing, which you know I hate doing. Alright, so now we've got a cute little folder. And you can leave it there, that's perfectly fine, but I think we want to take it to another level. I just want to get that edge down. There we go. So we're going to do some decorating now. So there's a couple of things, and I thought with this one I'm going to try something completely different. I'm going to throw an eyelet on here, and I'm going to put it right in the middle, I think. Right smack dab in the middle on the cover. Or should I put it on the back? I think on the cover. So I'm just going to use my crocodile and make a hole. And I should probably give myself a bit of a measurement here. Because you will notice if it is off center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so somewhere right around there. Okay. So I got my hole, and now I'm going to put my eyelet in. I showed you guys these great eyelets on the last project. What a great deal I got on them. Alright, now let's see. Hopefully it doesn't stick. Yay! I think I finally figured out how to put these on. Okay, so now I've got a hole right in the center. So this is where I thought I would use my twine. Just cut a piece. And I think what I will do is put the ends through, and we'll see. I'm going to tie a knot in this end of the loop, and I'll see if that will hold. And what I might do, oh, that's fine. So now I can bring my strings across and tie, or I can bring them up and down. That gives me a lot more twine to play with. And then I can secure it this way, like that. But I think we need a little bit more decoration before we do any of that. And the first thing I need to do before I continue is ink down all these edges. And probably scuff up the napkin a little bit more because it's pretty white. Oops, there we go. You're going to open it all the way up, so if you're going to see the inside, you want to ink that as well. And I can see I need to that just a teeny tiny little bit. I want to do the back too. Okay, good. It's looking nice and grungy. There we go. So now I just need to do a little decorating, and I have lots of choices because I've got lots of stuff sitting here. Let's see. I've got all of these printouts. These are from Artie Mays. These are from her free printables. To see if there's anything in there that I wanted to use. I'm not sure. There's some cute butterflies. There's a nice little, there's some cute little tags. What else do we have here? Got some flags. I've got some, oh, this, well, that would be interesting. If my hole was over just, well, I could probably fit this in. This is a guitar string envelope. If I decorated that, that could go on the front, and I could have an envelope on the front. That would be cool. But I'm not going to do that. Let's see here. Oh, I forgot. I've got some green doily that goes nicely. And then maybe something like that. I think I still need some butterflies though, right? Always need some butterflies. I've got some words here. I think I'm going to, because I think I'm going to put all this, these little scraps of printouts in here. So I might just want to add that. It says create. Stick that on like that maybe. And then let's see what we have for butterflies here. Oh, there's some green ones in here. Oh, I'm so tempted to just stick a really big one on there, but I think I like that one, that little guy. Oh, but there's a really big one here. No, it's too big. All right, so I think that's what I'm going to go with, and maybe I will use one of these. Okay, so I'm going to have to ink all of this stuff up, and then I will glue it all down. Okay, inking is done. Let the gluing commence. And this, in case you missed it, this is because I don't have a wax seal, which I would really like to get one day, so I just have a picture of a wax seal, and I glue that on. But I think it looks pretty convincing. It's pretty cute. Okay, and then our butterfly. Can't have a project without a butterfly. And I'm going to make sure that that overlaps just a little bit, because then you get a little bit more of the layering. And then this is just a little labels-ish kind of thing. There we go. There. Oh, I like this. I like how this one turned out. It's got a lot going on here, which is great. Cute. Look at that. And then I can put all of these little bits and bobs in here. And then every time I'm looking for them, they're not all over my desk. This would be perfect. Whoops. There we go. Love it. So again, you can use it for your own storage, or you can slip this into a junk journal, or you can throw some happy mail in there and send that off to somebody. I'm sure anybody would love to get one of those full of goodies. There you go. So there's our project, and here's our other two that I made earlier. So this one is without the book page underneath, so that's why there's that yellow showing through. This is with the book page, and then here's another one with the eyelet in the middle. So thanks very much for stopping by and watching, everybody. I hope that this sparks some creativity and some ideas, which I would love to see. So please tag me either here or over on Instagram so that I can see what you're making. And if you feel like hitting that like or subscribe button, please feel free to go ahead. So everybody have a great day, and I'll be back soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye.